I'm so excited to finally film today's video. Hi guys, I'm Magali. If it's your first time on my channel, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, then welcome back. I make videos on beauty, fashion, travel and lifestyle. So if you enjoy that type of content, don't forget to hit the red subscribe button below this video and subscribe to my channel so that you never miss a video. So today we are going to go over my entire vlogging setup, my video setup, my photo setup. Couple of quick little disclaimers. This is not a beginner setup. Some of the things are a little bit professional and are a little bit expensive. I didn't start with a setup like this. I started on things that were much more affordable and worked my way up to better equipment. Also, I always film and create like 99% of my content myself. That's not to say that I do it all alone. I have a lot of help from my mother. Very occasionally I'll also recruit friends to help, but I don't usually use outside photographers or videographers. That's why also that I need good equipment because I'm creating the content in-house. This video is not sponsored in any way. If I'm raving about any of the brands or things that I'm going to show you, it's because I genuinely have a lot of love for them. This is my main camera bag. I won't really carry this out on a day-to-day basis. This is camera luggage for me. I'll put most of my equipment here. Even when I'm traveling by flight, it makes it easier for security at the airport. This is one of FloPro's small to medium size backpacks. Almost everything that I own fits in here except for the tripod doesn't fit in here, and when I have the drone in this main pocket, then the camera doesn't fit inside. The bag is great and it's available in a few colors. Like I didn't want a black camera backpack, so I went with red. It's quite nice. The camera that I use is by Sony and it's a mirrorless camera. It's called the 𝘭𝘭𝘶. Before this camera, for a little while, I also had the 𝘭6000. This is such a good line of cameras by Sony and I'm really happy with the camera that I own. Before this, I was on Canon for years and years. Earlier, I was just a blogger, so I used to just create like photo related content, but then when I started making videos, Canon was just not up to the mark for me, and I'm happy with Sony because it handles both photo and video equally well. One of my favorite features of this camera is that the focus is so good and it rarely goes wrong. It's quick and accurate, so that's like one less thing I have to worry about. Once I get out of the frame, it immediately focuses on what's behind me, and when I get back in, it focuses on me again, even if I hold something up to the camera. Do you see how cool that is? A mirrorless basically has all the features of a DSLR, but because it does not have the mirror, it can fit into a smaller package. This also has a port for a microphone because I always have a mic on top of my camera. If you're looking to improve your videos and vlogs, definitely get a camera that has a mic port and attach a mic separately because it makes a really big difference when you're filming in a crowded or noisy area. Before I had a microphone on my camera, I just could not film in areas where there was too much noise around me, and now I can. No camera is perfect, so two things I dislike about this camera is that it doesn't have a flip screen, which is such a useful function when you're filming alone and you don't have someone to monitor what's there. But it makes up for it with the phone app. That's what I'm using to see whether everything is in frame right now. I don't mind the lack of flip screen because I have the phone app. I also take a lot of my Instagram pictures alone. They're self-portraits, and for that also I use the app. I think your camera is only as good as the glass that you put on it, and lenses also make a big difference to what your final content is going to look like. The lens that I'm filming on now is the lens that I've had for a year, and I shoot 97% of all my content with this lens only. This is the 16mm. It's not by Sony but by a third-party brand called Sigma. It is a prime lens, which means that it doesn't really zoom in or zoom out. It has a fixed focal length. If I want to show something close up or if I want to show something wider, I need to physically move the camera. 16mm means that it's really wide, so I use this most often for my travel vlogs because of course wide angle is useful to get yourself in the frame and show more of your surroundings. I can actually touch the camera when I extend my hand out. I'm pretty close to it. If I was shooting on a 50mm or something like that, my camera would have to be really far away from me, and I prefer the look of a wide angle lens. I think Sigma makes such excellent glass for Sony cameras that isn't too expensive as well. Lenses are actually supposed to outlast your camera, so you might change your camera in 3 to 5 years, but your lenses are going to be with you for a long time, so they're worth investing in. I tend to mostly get lenses that also have a wide aperture. I always shoot wide open. This lens goes up to f1.4, and the thing to know with apertures is the smaller the number is, like 1.4 or 1.8, the bigger it opens up. The main function that this serves is it gives you a beautifully aesthetic and blurred background. If I get myself close to the camera, you can see that my background kind of becomes all buttery and blurred. This is an effect that I like. If I go from f1.4 to 6.3, you can see that the whole video kind of becomes flat and there isn't as much separation between me and my background. A wide aperture, other than blurring your background, also helps you shoot much better in low light, because the wider the hole opens, the more light is let into your camera's sensor. This is another lens that I really enjoy using. It's my Rokinon 8mm fisheye lens. 8mm is super wide. It gets so much into the video, but I think fisheye can be a love it or hate it kind of lens. Many people don't like the look, but I enjoy it sometimes. Like, I won't film all of the time on this lens, but if I'm doing a room tour or trying to show you my surroundings, I feel like this is a really immersive kind of look, even though it does distort proportions and everything. My camera's at the same place. This is a great lens for vlogging because you can hold your camera and vlog. One thing that I don't enjoy about this lens is it's an old-fashioned manual focus lens, so I never fully know if I'm properly in focus because I need to estimate the distance and turn the ring. So I kind of just have to guess, and it's a shame to use this lens on a Sony camera that focuses so well because the lens doesn't have autofocus, but this is fun. Lens number 3. This used to be my favorite lens before I got my wide angle, and I'm still at the same place that I was. So this is a 30mm lens, and as you can see, it's quite a lot tighter. You get my face, but there isn't too much of the background. I've used this lens a lot for like fashion shoots. If you go onto my blog and see like my outfit photos, this lens is perfect for that. And even when I do like beauty related videos, I enjoy using it, but it doesn't get as much use from me anymore since I also have wide angle lens. But it's a really cool lens. It also has a wide aperture, so there's so much of background blurring. I really think Sigma can do no wrong. If people complain about Sony cameras saying that they don't have as many lenses out there as Canon or Nikon, definitely look at Sigma for good glass. Lens number 4 is another fixed focal length lens by Sigma. This is a 19mm f2.8. I bought this because I wanted to have a wide angle lens, but it doesn't get as much use since I got the 16mm lens. 19 and 16mm is not that far apart, but this lens doesn't have as wide of an aperture. It only opens to f2.8, so you don't get as much of bokeh and background blurring, and that's why this is a little bit neglected. But I think if you compare sizes of all the lenses, the 19mm does win over the 16mm because it's just a lot more lighter and compact. However, I'm the type of person that doesn't mind carrying a big heavy lens. Even if it's an inconvenience, if I get a better looking shot in the end, it's worth it. The last lens that I keep with me but I use really rarely is this one. This is actually a Sony lens, and this came with my previous camera. This is the 16mm to 50mm. It's the only zoom lens that I own. Right now it's 16mm, so pretty wide. and this is it at 15mm. I'm sure you guys don't want to see this. As mentioned, I rarely ever use this lens, but it's useful to keep in my camera bag as one of the only zoom lenses because it's extremely small, it's extremely light, and in certain situations when you want to zoom into things, I think it can be handy. If you guys have watched my Ahmedabad kite fight vlog, I have used this lens quite a bit to zoom into the sky and get better footage like that, but it doesn't really give that much background blurring. It's at f3.5 right now, so this is just something that I always have but rarely use. So this is my main photo video camera, but I do have a few smaller things that help me create more content. This is my GoPro Hero 4 on a little Manfrotto mini tripod. We're going to get to mini tripods in a bit. I have really mixed feelings about this camera. It is an okay camera if you know its limitations. I think it's nice that it's really small. I think it's nice that it's got a tough exterior that you can basically throw, and you can use it underwater, which is cool, or you can use it if you do adventure sports. However, I rarely swim and I'm not into adventure sports, so for me this camera quality always sort of disappoints, and I definitely don't think you can use a GoPro as a main camera because it's just not up to the mark. The mic is rubbish. You can't connect an external mic. Now I just keep it in my camera bag and I enjoy making time lapses with this camera. It can also get really wide. I just set it outside somewhere whenever I'm traveling and get some really cool time lapse shots. The next camera that I use, maybe not so much for my YouTube videos, but I use this a lot for Instagram, is actually my phone. It's the Google Pixel 3 XL. This camera has absolutely blown my mind. Of course, it doesn't always match up to my main camera. Sometimes the phone's quality is not as good as my main camera. Sometimes it's equal, but in some situations I've also discovered that this performs better than my very expensive camera kit. Google Pixel lineup definitely has the best camera quality out there, and they're constantly pushing it to make it better. If you check out like the night sight feature that this cameras come built in now, it performs like magic in low light, and I find myself using my phone for a lot of different content. If you go on my Instagram, it's a mixture of camera pictures and phone pictures. I don't think it's so easy to tell the difference between the two. Pictures taken on my phone will always have hashtag Team Pixel, so that's how you can distinguish whether I've taken that content with my camera or my phone. One of the things I love about the front camera on this is it has that wide angle selfie mode. Similar to the fisheye lens I just showed you, you can actually get so much into the frame, so you can get your surroundings. I think it looks truly beautiful. Before I had the Pixel 3 XL, I was constantly borrowing my mom's Pixel 2 phone. It is the absolute best. My final camera that I also carry with me, not everywhere, is my drone. This is the DJI Mavic Pro, the original version, but now the second generation is also out, and DJI makes the best drones out there. I don't think any other company can rival their drones yet. They're constantly coming out with drones on which the quality is better, the price is cheaper, and they're more portable. I love this because it can fold into something that is so small and compact. It's really easy to set up as well. This little thingy is the controller. You can just connect this to any cell phone, whether it's iPhone or Android, and it helps you see exactly what your drone is seeing when it's in the sky. I feel bad that I spent a lot of money on this drone and I don't end up using it so much. Drone laws in India can be really complicated. You can't take it up too high. You need local police permission. You just can't fly it in the city at all because that needs a lot of extra permission. So I only fly it when I'm traveling to areas that are less populated. But it's such a thrill to see things from a completely different perspective. It really changes the whole game. Final bit of equipment is something that doesn't get talked about too much, but is still really important: tripods. So I have one main tripod which I use the most with this camera when I'm indoors, and I have 3 mini tripods. This main tripod is by Manfrotto and it is a photo video tripod. At full extension, it's almost as tall as me. This tripod goes to above 5 feet, which is more than enough for me. It also has a ball head and it's got like a shotgun arm so that you can angle the camera very easily. You can like put it down, up. I bought this tripod pretty much when I started this YouTube channel, so I've had it for around 4 years now and it still works as good as the day that I bought it. Upgraded just about every bit of equipment since I've had this, but I don't think I'll be upgrading my tripod anytime soon because it does everything that I need. If you have a decent camera, it's really important to also get a good quality tripod. It's holding your camera at all times. It needs to be something stable that won't shake or won't suddenly fall or break. This one does everything that I need and I'm really very pleased with it. Mini tripod number 1 is also by Manfrotto. I used to use this for vlogging a lot when I had a lighter camera setup. This is the Manfrotto Pixie mini tripod. It has a ball head. When you push this button, you can change the angle of the camera. You can hold your camera like this when you're vlogging and it helps give you some extension, or you can just keep it down anywhere. This is really good if you have a lighter, smaller camera. It just can't hold what I'm currently using, so I use it for the GoPro. When I'm out and about vlogging with this setup, I'll use one of 2 mini tripods. I'll either use the Joby GorillaPod 3K or I'll use this Sirui 3T, I think it's called. Both have their pros and cons. I've owned this longer. I've owned this one for a few months and I think that in some ways the GorillaPod wins, in some ways this one wins. So the things that I like about the GorillaPod is it has something called a quick release. Actually both of these do. So does my main tripod. Once your camera is screwed in here, you can just push this and quickly take out the camera if you need to use it without the tripod, and quickly just snap it back in with a satisfying click. It's also got a ball head, so you can change the angle and tighten it up. It's also got a bubble level so that you can see if your camera is like straight or crooked. And these legs are both good and bad. I like how they can bend and fold so you can keep your camera down even on a really uneven surface. Many vloggers use their GorillaPods to cling their camera to a tree branch or something, but I definitely never do that because this is expensive. I like how modular these legs are, but sometimes they can be a pain. Also, these legs are just pretty bulky. I wish they were smaller. And sometimes when you just want to set your camera down on a table, this can be annoying. Next mini tripod is this one by Sirui. I bought this because I like how much more compact it is compared to the GorillaPod. This one is also really modular. Like you can do many different things with it. These little things are legs, and once you lock it down, this is going to stay nice and flat on a surface. Say you want a little bit of extra height, you can extend it up to this much. Say you want the legs but you don't want the height, you can actually remove this central column just by unscrewing it. Then the tripod becomes really small. This also has a ball head, so you can position it at the exact angle that you need to. And this also has a quick release, but the quick release is not as quick as the one on the GorillaPod. This takes a little extra time to release, and when you put it back also you need to turn this screw, whereas in the GorillaPod you can just click. I can actually affix this to the belt of my jeans, or I can fix it onto the outside of my camera bag, although it's small so it fits easily inside, but if I want to it will fit on the outside as well. And that's all my vlogging and photo equipment. I'm really happy with everything that I own right now. I feel like I finally have a setup that I'm extremely happy with. I've used a majority of this setup for about a year, so I know that I'm comfortable with it. I think it was definitely an investment, but something that has helped me really improve the quality of my content. And most of this equipment is fairly compact that I can take it whenever I'm traveling anywhere around the world. That's all for today's video. If you have any questions about any of my equipment that you think I can answer, feel free to leave them in the comments below this video. If you found this content useful, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.